Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Alvina, please switch on your video. Okay. Any doubt in the previous topic? OCD. Amal, any doubt? Any doubt? No. Okay. We'll continue with the other disorders. Next is trauma and stress related disorders. Have you heard any trauma related disorders? One common nowadays,
Stress
uh,
disorder.
PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. Okay. So, what does the term post mean? Post. Post means
Afterwards.
afterwards or after. PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. In that, P is for post traumatic. So there is a trauma involved and that creates stress in the person. Okay, and that becomes a disorder. So that is post traumatic stress disorder. From most of the names of disorders, you can identify the main symptoms. Okay. So PTSD comes under trauma and stress related disorders. There are a collection of disorders that comes under trauma and stress related disorders. And PTSD is one among them. The main thing that you have to learn in this chapter in the category of trauma and stress related disorder is PTSD. Okay, just take page number 78. See the topic. Very often, people who have been caught in a natural disaster such as tsunami, or have been victims of bomb blasts by terrorists, or been in a serious accident or in a war related situation, experience post traumatic stress disorder PTSD. There are situations in which people have higher chances of developing PTSD. You can underline them and keep. Examples are asked, you can write. It might be a natural disaster like tsunami or flood or an earthquake. Hmm? It can be any other life situation which has been very stressful or traumatic for the person. Then it can be a bomb blast, serious terrorist attack, or accident. Can be anything like that, which creates a trauma in the person. A very stressful situation in the person. Okay, that refers to PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD symptoms vary widely but may include recurrent dreams. That is one of the symptoms. Recurrent dreams of situations similar to the cause situation or from wherever the source of the stress or the trauma is coming from. Related to those situations, they'll have dreams. Okay, recurrent dreams will be there. Then flashbacks or vivid images of the scene. Suppose if the person has met with an accident, the scene of this accident comes again and again as flashbacks to this person's mind. Okay, then impaired concentration. If the person is trying to do a particular work or trying to learn something or maybe do the daily activities that he or she involves in, there won't be much concentration involved in that work. There will be impaired concentration. Then emotional numbing. Emotional numbing means the emotions become flat. um, Otherwise we can say they become emotionless even though they were people who used to express emotions. They become emotionless, they can't express or they can't feel anything. Such a situation would come, that is emotional numbing. These are the symptoms of PTSD, some of the symptoms of PTSD. Then along with that, adjustment disorders and acute stress disorder are also included in this category, under this category. So in trauma and stress related disorders, other two examples are acute stress disorder and also adjustment disorder. Adjustment disorders like tell me a few situations where you can't adjust or where you feel uncomfortable to adjust in the beginning at least. Any common changes that occurs. If any major change in your life happens, then you feel a bit uncomfortable to adjust to that situation. And it takes time to adjust to that situation. Tell me a few situations like that. Major changes in your life, turning points. Think. Hmm. Elvina,
When we get new colleagues or friends.
which means you move to a new school.
Yes.
Okay. Or if you're getting a new job, or you're shifting your residence to another place, or if you're getting married, if you're joining a new course, you are taking admission in a hostel, you're going to stay in a hostel for a very long time. All those are major changes, isn't it? So usually what happens is you'll take some time to adjust to that situation. But when you cannot adjust and you show several symptoms like sleeplessness, very moodiness, emotional problems, behavioral problems, then that can be diagnosed as adjustment disorder when it gets out of hand. Okay, that criteria is also there for adjustment disorder and acute stress disorder, but you don't have to study that here. Just understand what they are. Okay. The main disorder that you have to study in this trauma and stress related disorder is PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. You have to know the main causes or examples of causes and also the main symptoms. Okay, which are the main symptoms, Meghna?
Flashbacks, emotional numbing,
Hmm.
um,
During sleep, what happens?
nightmares,
Oh, what did we discuss here? Recurrent
recurrent dreams,
dreams,
then impaired vision,
bed vision not
concentrated,
concentration. Then that's all. Okay. So PTSD understood, no? Yes, it's a common thing. Okay. Next section is somatic symptom and related disorders. Somatic symptom and related disorders. What does soma mean? We have studied soma before. What does that mean? The word soma. Where did we learn that before?
The nerve cell.
Nerve cell or a part of neuron, isn't it? It's a part of neuron. We learned soma. What was soma?
The fluid-like substance around the nucleus.
Hmm. Okay. What is the other name for soma then?
Cytoplasm.
No. Any cells that fluid fill space is called cytoplasm. But for neuron, we learned soma or one more name was there. One common term is there for soma. Anyone? Soma.
cell body,
Body. Yes, body. Okay. So soma means body. Generally, that is the common term used for body. So somatic symptom disorder means, what would that be? Or somatic symptom and related disorders. What would that be? Any idea? Yes.
Some symptoms in our body.
Some symptoms in our body. And why would symptoms in our body become a psychological disorder? That's correct only. Somatic symptoms means symptoms in our body. So why would that be included in a psychological disorder section? This should have been in medicine, right?
When people experience symptoms without a
Without a what cause?
cause
What cause?
disease.
Without a disease. For example,
If I don't have fever and if I act as if I have fever,
if you're acting, then that is not a disorder, right? That
like really I feel like I have fever, but actually I don't have fever.
okay, yeah, that can be considered. So in this section, what happens is people experience or they have symptoms of certain bodily problems, but the organic cause will not be there. Organic means the biological cause, the disease. The disease as such, the disease of the body will not be there. It will be absent. For example, you are feeling like your hand is cut or it is wounded. Hmm? You're feeling very much pain there. But even if you had undergone all the scans and checkups and everything, there is no such cause for a problem like that, for a symptom like that. Understood? That can be one example in this disorder. So, somatic symptom and related disorders, in that also, just like the previous sections, we have so many disorders under that category. But we are learning only three among them. Okay, we'll see which they are. Just take the third paragraph. Somatic symptom and related disorders. These are conditions in which there are physical symptoms in the absence of a physical disease. Underline that. Physical symptoms in the absence of a physical disease. Okay. In these disorder, the individual has psychological difficulties and complaints of physical symptoms. For which there is no biological cause. So, biological cause or the physical cause will be absent. In spite of that, they'll have some physical symptom. They'll experience the physical symptom. Just like I explained about the pain disorder. Hmm? Now, these include conversion disorders, underline conversion disorders, somatic symptom disorder, and illness anxiety disorder, among others. Among others means there are so many in this list, but we are discussing only these three. Conversion disorder, somatic symptom disorder, and illness anxiety disorder. Somatic symptom disorder, what would that be? That's a general thing. We'll experience the symptoms, but there will be no physical cause. For example, shortness of breath. You will feel breathless. Then pain. You'll feel pain without a physical cause. These all are symptoms of somatic symptom disorder. It involves a person having persistent body related symptoms. Persistent, it has to be persistent. If it occurs for 1 or 2 days, that is not persistent. Okay, there is a time period for it to occur. Persistent body related symptoms which may or may not be related to any serious medical condition. People with this disorder tend to be overly preoccupied with their symptoms and they continually worry about their health and make frequent visits to doctors. As a result, they experience significant distress and disturbances in their daily life. So again, when this disturbs in their daily life, then only we can call it a disorder. Suppose I'm thinking that I have this particular symptom, I have this condition, and I am adjusting with that, then that's not a disorder. But if it prevents me from proper functioning in different areas of life, like the workplace or at school or at family or in a social group, if I'm having distress and problems, then that will be diagnosed as a disorder. Okay. But if I'm adjusting with that, then if I'm able to function well in all areas of my life, then it's not considered as a disorder as such. There'll be just a disturbance. That's all. Okay. So what are the symptoms? And the main problem of this disorder is even if you go and check or do all the checkup scans and all, do all the tests necessary for this. And even if the doctor tells us that there is no such problem, there is no biological cause or physical cause, the patients or the clients won't agree with that. They'll keep on visiting other hospitals, other clinics, and other doctors. And because of that, they lose so much of money, so much of their time from their daily life. Understood? That is one problem of somatic symptom disorder. And this doctor consultation, the continuous and repeated doctor consultation and frequent checkups, this is one of the main problem of this category of disorders, somatic disorders. And it's very difficult to diagnose also. Suppose if a person with this disorder is coming to the hospital, then for months and months, they'll be shifting from one hospital to another because they won't be able to find any particular cause for this disorder, isn't it? They'll have complaints like I have this pain, I have that pain, I have pain here, I have pain there, or I have this symptom, I have that symptom. But doctors continuously check and then they won't be able to find out anything because there is no essential biological cause for it. And this keeps on continuing. And finally, if somebody refers to the psychological department or the psychiatric department, then only we can find out that this is a somatic symptom disorder. It is psychological origin. Understood? Okay. Then the second one in that category is illness anxiety disorder, which was earlier known as hypochondriasis. You can note that. It was earlier called as hypochondriasis. This is similar to somatic symptom disorder, but the problem is people are preoccupied with the concept that they have a serious illness or disorder. As the name suggests, it is illness anxiety disorder, which means they are anxious that or they are fearful that they have an illness. They'll tell that I have this particular disease or I have this particular disorder, and that's why they are continuously consulting the doctor. But again, doctors will say, no, you don't have that disorder. And they'll even show the test reports and the results. And then even after that, they won't be convinced. They'll keep on changing shifting from one hospital to another. They'll consult with other doctors, take second opinions, third opinions, and it keeps on revolving like that. Okay. Unless somebody finds out that this is of psychological origin. Illness anxiety disorder. So, illness anxiety disorder involves persistent preoccupation about developing a serious illness and constantly worrying about this possibility. This is accompanied by anxiety about one's health. Individuals with illness anxiety disorder are overly concerned about undiagnosed disease. See, disease is already undiagnosed, but they think that they have a particular disease. It might be cancer, it might be a tumor, it might be very serious illness or a very mild illness also. Okay, there is the severity differs depending on the people, depending on the person. Then negative diagnostic results, even if the diagnostic results become negative, which means if the test reports confirm that they don't have a disease or disorder, even after that they'll keep on testing or consulting the doctor. Then even if they do not respond to assurance by doctors, even if doctors assure that they don't have a disorder, they'll keep on doing this. then and are easily alarmed about illness, such as on hearing about someone else's ill health or some such news, which means if these people who suffer from this particular illness anxiety disorder, if they hear a bad news or about maybe their relative or an acquaintance of them, if they hear a similar complaint like having a particular disease, or if somebody has passed away because of this disease that they are fearing of, and then they'll again this will increase or increase the severity of their condition. I'll give you an example. Suppose if a person with illness anxiety disorder fears that this person has a tumor, hmm, brain tumor, and this person has been consulting different doctors, going to different hospitals, and doing the all sorts of scans and tests. But even after all this, the test results are normal, all are negative. Okay, this the doctors have assured that this person does not have a disease, that is brain tumor. But again, if this person sees or hears from someone that a close friend has passed away because of this brain tumor, then their illness anxiety disorder will increase, their symptoms will increase. Understood? Okay. That is about illness anxiety disorder. What was the other name, earlier name?
Hypochondriasis.
Hypochondriasis. Okay. Now, in general, both somatic symptoms disorder and illness anxiety disorder are concerned with medical illnesses, but the difference lies in the way their concern is expressed. In the case of somatic symptom disorder, this expression is in terms of physical complaints. Note that physical complaints. While in case of illness anxiety disorder, as the name suggests, it is the anxiety is the main concern. Anxiety about the illness that they are considering, that is the main concern. But in the first disorder that we discussed, that is somatic symptom disorder, it is the physical complaints that are given more importance. That is the difference there. Okay. Now, one more disorder is there in that category, that is conversion disorder. The symptoms of conversion disorders are the reported loss of part or all of some basic body functions. They'll complain that they have lost a body part or the function of a particular body part. Suppose after an accident or after a major shock or after a major problem, the person is complaining that one eye's vision is lost. Okay, and this person cannot really see with that one eye. That's what the person complains. But when the eye is being checked on, then the doctors find no problem in the vision. Understand? They'll complain that they have lost the function of one eye, but after doing all the tests, there will be no physical cause for it, which means the eye is functioning properly already, but they cannot see. That is also of psychological origin. That is called conversion disorder. Okay. And other conditions like paralysis, then blindness, deafness, and difficulty in walking are generally among the symptoms reported. These symptoms often occur after a stressful experience and may be quite sudden. Even if they can really move their body parts, some of their body parts might be paralyzed. So when the doctors check, there will be no neurological problem related to paralysis in their body. But they feel that their body is paralyzed. They are not pretending. Okay, you have to note that they are not pretending. They are not doing it on purpose. But they are having a psychological issue, and that's why this is manifested in their behavior. Understood? That is conversion. So these three come under the category of somatic symptom and related disorders. So we have finished anxiety disorders, then obsessive and compulsive and related disorders, trauma and stress related disorders. Now somatic symptom and related disorders. 4 sections. Any doubt till now? No. Shall we continue? Okay. Next section is again very interesting one. Have you seen the movie Manichitrathal? Obviously. Anybody who has not watched yet? No. Okay. And about disorder is the character played by Shobana suffering from.
Personality something.
Mm, mm, mm. Come closer.
She's so obsessed with uh, another dancer.
Okay. Can it be OCD?
No,
No. So there is something else.
She used to hear the stories from her grandma.
That is the cause, no? I'm asking what is the problem that she is suffering from? What is the disorder? What is her name in that film? Character's name?
Then like
Ganga. Okay. And what is the other character's name that she plays?
Nagali.
Nagavali. Dual personality symptom. It's not a symptom. Okay, dual personality. Okay, fine. Then, so two personalities are there, isn't it? And describe how Ganga is. We have studied the chapter personality. So describe.
She's not read about books like she don't read books and historical things and all.
Hmm. Then, Amal, any comments? No. Okay, another question. The name of a person comes under what part of the personality or what part of the self?
personal identity.
Personal identity. Okay. Name is a part of personal identity. So how many personal identities does this character played by Shobana has in that film?
Two of them.
Huh?
Two of them.
Two of them. Okay. And so how many identities are there for her?
Two of them.
Two.
Two. And there are situations where people can have even more than two. Have you seen the film? What is the name?
Onion.
Onion is there. Then come on. Rest of the films. One film is there by Kajal Agarwal's film. I don't remember the name. Not 24. No, that's not there. Huh? In the there, Manichitrathal is there. Think of other films. Amal is least interested.
Prithviraj's one film is there, like he has a small son and he is into watching those stars and stuff.
Nayan.
Nine.
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 Okay, 9. In that there is this one. Identity problem.
At the
Okay.
same time, he's being two people.
Okay. Then I thought of one film and it just flew away from the mind. Which was it? Okay, we'll discuss about that later. So, what happens is people. Yes, one English film is there. Split. You seen Split? I think some 12 personalities or some are there for that. Split. I think that's the name. Okay. Anyways, so what happens here is how many identities are they living with? Two or three, or it can be many. So if it is more than two, what do we call it?
Multiple.
Multiple. Yeah. So earlier it was called as multiple personality disorder. Okay. Now it is called dissociative identity disorder. Understood? Dissociative identity disorder. I'll write on the board. Please note down. And all these comes, this is one disorder that comes under the category of dissociative disorders. There are a set of disorders, and this is one among them. Dissociative identity disorder, DID. Okay. Dissociative identity disorder was earlier called multiple personality disorder. Now, see dissociative disorders. Dissociation can be viewed as severance of the connections between ideas and emotions. Dissociation involves feelings of unreality, underline unreality, estrangement, depersonalization, and sometimes a loss of shift of identity. Unreality means they will have uh, less reality contact, or they'll be taken away from the reality factor. And then estrangement means they'll feel like they are not existing in that particular situation where they are. Suppose if I am right now in the class, I feel that I'm not here. That will be one form of dissociation. Then it can be depersonalization. I feel that I am not myself, I am somebody else. Okay, that is depersonalization, dissociation from our personality. Then one more problem is a loss of shift of identity. I might live in somebody else's identity. And this also I'm not doing it on purpose. That is because I'm having some psychological cause. Okay. And there is something called dissociative fugue. I don't know if you have that study. No, that's not there. In that, what happens is, I mean, people suffering from this disorder, they just elope from their place of residence. They just run away and live in some other place with some other identity. This might occur with dissociative amnesia, which means they won't have memory of it. After a period of time, they'll come back, but they should not remember any of this. Understood? So for a period of time, they were living somewhere else with some other identity. And after a period of time, they come back, and the past factors, whatever identity they lived with, wherever they lived with, whomever they lived with, they will not remember. Understood? That is dissociative fugue, but I think you don't have that to study. Okay, let's look at the disorders in that section. Sudden temporary alterations of consciousness that blot out painful experiences are a defining characteristic of dissociative disorders. Conditions included in this are dissociative amnesia, underline dissociative amnesia, Dissociative identity disorder, that is DID, earlier known as multiple personality disorder. Then depersonalization or derealization disorder. Salient features of somatic symptom and related disorders and dissociative disorders are given in box 4.1. That you can read up. It's the same thing. More or less the same thing. Okay. Dissociative amnesia is characterized by extensive but selected memory loss that has no non-organic cause. Example, head injury. Some people cannot remember anything about their past. Others can no longer recall specific events, people, places, or objects. So it can be extensive. That means a wide amount of information is lost from their memory, or they cannot remember from their memory system. And for some cases, it might be selective. That is, for some events they don't remember, or for what do you call, for some people's names they don't remember, for some places they don't remember. It can be very selective in nature also, and this is occurring without the organic cause. Okay, if it is because of some major accident or major head injury and all, then that is of organic cause, that is treated by the for the neurology section and all. But dissociative disorders are treated by psychologists. Understood. Therapy is used for these disorders. Then, a part of dissociative amnesia is dissociative fugue. Yeah, there comes dissociative fugue. Underline. Essential feature of this could be an unexpected travel away from home and workplace, the assumption of a new identity, and the inability to recall the previous identity. As I told you, they'll run away from one place, they'll live in a new identity, and they'll have problems in remembering about this identity and even the events that took place. So, dissociative amnesia can take place with dissociative fugue along with that, or without dissociative fugue. Anything can happen. The fugue usually ends when the person suddenly wakes up with no memory of the events that occurred during the fugue. This disorder is often associated with an overwhelming stress. So whenever we face a major stressor, several types of disorders can occur. That might turn into phobias. That is one form of anxiety disorder. It might turn into PTSD. That is form of stress related disorder. It might become dissociative disorder, or it might become several other things. Understood. So the same cause can lead us to several disorders. Can you follow? Yes. Okay. The next one is dissociative identity disorder that we already discussed. Amal, can you read? DID, that one.
Dissociative identity disorder,
Hmm.
often referred to multiple personality,
Hmm.
is the most dramatic of the dissociative disorders.
Isn't
It
it?
is often associated.
Hmm. It is often.
Uh, it's often associated with traumatic experience in childhood.
Hmm.
In this disorder, the person assumes alternative personality that may or may not be aware of each other.
May or may not be aware of each other. So in our Ganga's case, what all traumas did she face during childhood?
She was living alone with her grandmother.
Hmm. She was abandoned by her parents. She did not get, most probably she did not get proper care during her developmental period, and several fixations might have occurred during different stages, isn't it? Okay, they all might be the causes. Okay, so any doubt in this? Easy, no? You're familiar with this. Only the term is new. Dissociative identity disorder. Then last one is depersonalization disorder. With that, we'll stop. We'll read. Ashish, read.
Depersonality disorder. Depersonality or
Depersonalization. Read slow, read slow. Depersonalization.
depersonalization or derealization disorder
Realization disorder.
involve,
Hmm.
involve a dreamlike state in which a person has a sense of being separated both from self and the reality. Deeper, in depersonalization, there is a of
Change of
self-perception and
hmm.
change of self-perception
and
and sense of
sense of reality
and the person
and the person
and
sense
person's
of
sense.
read, my dear.
I am reading.
You
Hello.
read. Complete. Hello.
Uh, and the person's sense of reality is temporarily
Finished. Completed. Completed. Ashish. Okay.
yes.
And the person's sense of reality is temporarily lost or changed. So, what happens here is, as the name suggests, depersonalization, which means they are dissociated from their personality or self. Okay. And or it can happen this way, that is derealization. They are dissociated, or they don't have any connection with their reality around them. That is what happens in this disorder, depersonalization or derealization disorder. And all these dissociative disorders, they have a common factor, certain common factors. That is why they are considered as one category. That is dissociative disorders. Understood. So it's very difficult to differentiate between these disorders. So in ICD and this DSM, we have something called differential diagnosis. Differential diagnosis. There is a section called differential diagnosis, and under that it will be given which all disorders you have to differentiate this disorder from. Understood? Like for example, conversion disorder is given. And conversion disorders criteria and everything guidelines are given, and under that differential diagnosis is given as illness anxiety disorder. So that means it should be differentiated from illness anxiety disorder. You should not confuse with this disorder and that disorder. That's why differential diagnosis is given. Understood? That's too much for you, I know. But usually that's what we do when we diagnose certain disorders. This question might be there in your mind. How will we differentiate? Because everything looks the same. So how will we differentiate from this disorder from the other disorder? That's by learning and practicing and knowing the differential diagnosis. Okay. Yes. Okay. Then depression, depressive disorders and all we'll see in the next one. Schizophrenia is coming up. You guys have heard so many of schizophrenia from me itself, no? Yes. Okay. Any doubt till now? We finished till dissociative disorders. So how many sections? Anxiety, OCD and related, then trauma and stress related, somatic symptom related, dissociative. 5 sections are over. Okay. If you have any doubt, please feel free to contact me. Shall we wind up? Hmm? Any doubt? Any doubt? Ashish, any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to end then. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.